And there are moments where obviously I'm off in my own world, and I would say that I'm not the best friend, sister, partner, daughter, whatever it is, because I need to deal with my own stuff. But yeah, I think it's necessary to have those moments where we're off in our own world, re-energizing, and then we can be everything to everyone else. But we need to be everything to ourselves first.
True. Like for me, I definitely would sweep things under the rug a lot of the time. And I think I just felt like if I'm arguing with somebody, then I felt scared that there was no return from the argument.
That it was going to be the end of the relationship.
Yeah. And I think still as an adult, I have that feeling of like fear of, if I have an argument with this person, I'm risking the relationship with this person. I feel like for me to be shouting at you, you've really got me to a point of probably no return. I
think I'm laughing because I cannot imagine me like shouting like, what are you doing?
I can't do it.
I could not.
I'm really good at like acting like nothing's happened. Maybe I would address it, but in a way that's like a sandwich. So I would do the nice, the feeling, then the nice.
Oh, kiss, slap, kiss.
Yes, I'll definitely do that.
Welcome back to season 3 of MNM Talks. It's your girl Malunga.
And it's your girl Mwila. You already know what it is, the Everyday People podcast.
Make sure you like, share, comment and subscribe. Okay,
let's get into it.
Hey, we are back. We're back again. How are you?
I'm good. I'm well. How about you?
I'm good. I'm feeling revived.
I thought you were going to say refreshed.
Refreshed. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling solidified
and revived. Okay.
That sounds like a group.
I know.
Solidified and revived.
I know. How's your week been?
The week's been okay. Yeah, it's been one of those weeks, but it's been good. It's been all right. Like, I don't want to put too much of a downer on it, or like, you know.
But it's okay, girl. If it's been, it's been one down.
of those. It's been one of those weeks where I feel like it's interesting because obviously we're going to talk about friendships as well today. But I just feel like I've needed that kind of like community spirit in some sense as well. But it's weird because I'm very like, I can be standoffish, I can be quiet, I can be distant, but then sometimes I can be like, it's so weird with me, like I wonder how people are even friends with me at this point, because how do they know what to get? But yeah, like I feel like I've needed to be like in communion a bit more this week than I realised. How about you? How have you been feeling?
That's an interesting point, because I think sometimes we need other people to remind us of who we are and our value.
Yeah.
I think, you know, when people sometimes say like, oh, what other people think doesn't matter, or, you know, don't care about what other people think. I think that when you care, the people that you care about, you obviously do care about what they think. And sometimes those opinions do matter, or not necessarily an opinion, but being around people that are going to affirm you in a positive way.
Yeah.
You know, because like even hearing that in my mind, I'm now thinking, okay, what ways I could have been there a little bit more this week to support you as a friend. But I think it's interesting because we both respond to, if anything is like, let's say we've both had a hard week, we're quite similar in the way that we respond to anything that's quite difficult. We kind of, I know that I like close up a bit, I might hide away, and I'm very quiet.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because we can both sense that in each other when we're both a little bit quiet and a bit distant.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make, like, I know you were saying like, you know, you can be a bit distant or whatever, but it's like, these aren't always bad things. Like sometimes you just need to have a moment to yourself.
True.
And re-energize.
Yeah, that's true. And I think sometimes for me, I find it difficult to kind of like, I guess, ask in moments.
For help.
Yeah, sometimes I do. But I'm not so bad. There used to be a time when I just never used to. But I think I've gotten to a point where like, I would kind of engage and say like, if there's like I need that extra boost. Do you know what
like
I mean?
so if something's up, you're gonna say it. You're not gonna pretend like everything is okay.
I think before I used to act a bit more like everything's okay to the extreme, but now I'm slowly. It's harder, but I'm slowly getting to a space where I'm like able to engage in that type of like space with my friends. But it's still, it's almost like a learned habit. Yeah. But before we kind of get into like our friendships and our moments and things, like I wanted to know, what's your ick of this week?
Do you know what? I don't really have one.
You don't?
I know you're like, you're so unprepared. I'm literally trying to think.
How do you know that was my fault?
I know, I could tell.
I'm joking.
I think, I mean, I would say I don't like wasted food. Because I've been doing a lot of cooking recently.
Yeah.
So if anything is wasted, or if I've cooked something and someone doesn't really eat it or appreciate it, I kind of feel like, what? You know, come on, finish that plate of food. Whole plate. I think I've just been raised in that way as well, where it's like the plate of food has to be finished. If you don't finish it, just get back to it and finish it.
I don't think I finished. Actually, I'm gonna get back to.
But I've noticed with you, you're one of those eaters that you're not gonna like dive into it straight away. You're more of a slow eater, aren't you?
I am. I really am.
Were you like that when you were young?
Yes, I used to struggle to eat a lot, and I think my, Auntie Chewe, my auntie used to literally like sit me at the table and be like, girl, if you ain't, we ain't going nowhere. You know when a parent has to say, we're not going nowhere until you finish this, everything that's on this plate, we're not going to move until you finish everything that's on this plate. That I was that child.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
And did you finish?
You finished, but you grew up with lots of siblings.
Yeah.
So I feel like when people grow up with lots of siblings, they end up eating faster.
Yeah, you have to fight for that, for your position at the table.
Definitely, I see that. Like, but you're not too much of a fast eater like that, though.
I'm not. I try and take my time a little bit more now, but either way, I don't like wasted food. I mean, come on, you have to be grateful. Yeah, because there's so many people that don't have what we have. So
true. I hear it. Eat your food. Eat everything on that plate.
Yeah, eat everything that's on that plate. We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
But also when it comes to food, I don't like to keep it for too long. So I wouldn't like to keep something that I've cooked for like over a week, or even put in the freezer. I'm not gonna lie. I like to try and eat everything fresh. Like maybe I'll keep it 2-3 days max. But I like to switch it up. I don't want to eat the same thing, blah, blah, blah.
I don't know if that's our parents from Zambia that does that. Because my mum, like I know like a lot of other places, like a lot of other cultures, they keep and store food for quite a long time. Not a long time, but they store it because obviously like it's preserving it, and it's much easier when you're like cooking and stuff like that. Yeah. But like with my mum, she never used to really do that as much. I don't know, like if your mum was somebody who would eat, like you guys had lots of fresh food growing up, maybe preserve it like for a day or two.
I'm laughing because I was actually talking to my boyfriend about this, but like we were talking about like oven foods and like putting things in the freezer and stuff like that. I mean, because there was loads of us, my mum would cook fresh foods, but maybe more on the weekends or whatever. Okay, but like she was outnumbered. We would have we would want the food from Iceland. Like I remember chicken drummers. Really? Do you remember chicken drummers? Who remembers chicken drummers?
They were my favourite.
And the smileys. You know them smileys? Them like waffles.
Yes,
waffles.
I know exactly what you're talking about. My mum never used to... Well, okay. My mum would buy them, but it was very rare. It was like a special occasion. It was a special occasion. But like, honestly, like when it came to like my like going to my god sisters and god brother's house, Auntie Linda used to always have like either like the smiley faces or the chicken drum, the animals. I don't know if it was a dinosaur, whatever. It was always the dinosaurs, I think it was.
The dinosaurs!
They used to be my
Girl.
favorite.
We know the dinosaurs, the waffles, the smiley faces.
So you guys are definitely not wasting food.
We weren't wasting food. So you had those as well?
No, I had rice and chicken. My mum would do spaghetti bolognese because she knew I like cheese a lot of the time.
You
so
still
even
like
my mum and dad,
cheese?
yeah, I love cheese, but like I never got the like drum. I mean, we did, but it was rare. It was very, very rare. But we did eat good. Like we used to have Sunny Delight. Do you remember Sunny Delight?
Sunny Delight, yes.
We used to have that all the time. Every time there was a party.
Muller corners or Muller.
Oh yeah,
with the like little rocks.
But they used to taste much better back in the day.
Yeah,
it's changed
I haven't had
now.
it now.
It's different. It tastes healthy. It tastes healthy. Even like
Ribena.
Sunny Delight, it tastes different. It's changed. I tried it once. They still sell it because I thought, oh, it's like, it's gone. It's like, it's not on the market anymore. It's not on the market like it's in. But yeah, it's not in the stores or anything like that. I saw it, I tried it, and it's not the same.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, those kind of, like, when you think about your childhood and certain foods, it does bring you joy because it's like associated with, you know, when you were young. I think now, because we were allowed to have snacks and stuff like that. So now I'm a bit more conscious of what I'm eating and I try and be more like healthy. But it depends.
You're a very healthy eater.
Yeah, I think I'm balanced. I go through phases. Like it depends on my mood. It depends on my, you know, on my cycle, everything.
Okay.
Anyways, it depends on my mood.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to claim that I'm a healthy eater and then you see me at the
going out to eat. But even when you
see
go out
me
to
at
eat,
Miami Spice or something, I don't know.
what's Miami Spice?
It's a shop that's near mine that's just opened up. It's like a chicken and anyways. Okay, what's your ick of the week?
My ick. Oh gosh. Okay, so you know I've been trying to like find love.
I'm thinking, should we take a deep breath a bit, just loosen the shoulders a bit? I was thinking that's what I was saying about like relax them a bit. Yeah, take a breath. Yeah.
Do they seem a bit up?
Yeah, they seemed a bit like hunched up a bit, like for both of us.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. I was thinking,
Okay.
Maybe it's the performer in me. Sorry.
I'm like, what's happening?
National Theatre is coming up, but you know, sometimes I think I'm just saying this, and this is to like everyone, our M&Ms, hi everyday people. But sometimes we do keep a lot of tension in our bodies and we don't realise it. But I was thinking about this recently and watching, you know, when you go down a rabbit hole on YouTube. But sometimes we've got a lot of tension in our bodies and we almost like we could be like this and not realise, or our back could be tense and not realise, you know what I mean? And sometimes even just
relaxing a bit,
breathing before you talk.
Uncomfortable in any way?
It's just no. But I think I was just also thinking about both of us you know, we've had we were talking about our week, so I was just thinking that like sometimes having that breath and releasing it in the body is like good for the mind and for the body, just to relax the muscles. Okay. I'm being a bit extra, maybe. Mila's like, girl, I was fine. But should we just breathe together?
Yeah, let's do a breath.
I do want to take a breath with you.
Yeah.
Can I share that moment with you?
Yeah, okay, go on. Lead the way.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
Good.
Should we do one more?
Okay. Okay, one more.
Breathe in. Breathe out. Just relax the mind and the body. We're back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh.
How was that?
It was good. I wonder if the M&Ms did it with us.
Yeah, guys,
nice.
Take a breath. I encourage it, honestly, because sometimes there's so much going on in our days, but just remember to breathe and like rest and relax. We owe that to ourselves.
Yeah,
so I just wanted to put that out there because, yet again, something popped into my mind. But anyways, back to the ick.
Back to my ick.
Yes.
Back to the ick.
Screw it.
So I was going to say, you know, my goal for this year is to find love.
Find love. Find love.
I mean, find myself. Even if that's finding love in myself, that's even better.
And even in love,
finding love in someone else.
In love, finding someone else, you can also find yourself.
I disagree.
Oh.
I disagree. I don't think in love you find yourself.
Okay.
I think in love, I guess you can, but I don't think you should seek love to find yourself. I disagree.
Wow.
I don't think you should seek love to find yourself, personally. But I do feel like you should have some form of like secureness or like balance or something that's like a centered space in love as well, like because it's like you're sharing those components of like secured centeredness, and you do attract what you are as well. And so like I'm very like aware of that in my mind. But actually, now that I say that, it's my ick.
What was yeah.
My ick is about, you know, this dating space in the UK.
The streets.
The streets.
How are the streets?
The streets are streeting. And one of the things that gives me the ick is, so I went on a date. And, you know, no shades.
What's his age, date of birth? Where does he live?
Wow.
I'm joking. But yeah.
I don't want to put him out like that.
I'm joking.
Because he's a nice guy, and we did actually connect. Like, we connected on Faith, and that's one thing that I really liked about him. But when we got on the date, it was all about sex, and all his questions were sex related. And I was just like, this is kind of giving me like
It's an ick.
Yeah, like I get you're trying to have a bit of fun and you're trying to be, but it made me feel like, what's your intention here? Do you get what I mean? And it creates like an ick kind of vibe. So I was just like, yeah, that's an ick for me. Like I don't overly like chat about sex on a date.
And did you, so because he was so the ick is, you know, basically being too sexual on a first date.
Yeah.
Now, prior to meeting with this guy, were conversations flirty and were they sexual?
Not really. We spoke about faith.
So you were speaking about like your faith in God.
Yeah, I mean, there was like a flirtation, but it was like very innocent.
Okay, so it was playful, like innocent.
A PG.
PG?
And then when we got on the date, it was like an 18.
Oh, so was it given X-rated on the date?
A bit too much. I said, oh, hey,
slow down.
Slow your roll.
Slow down.
Slow your roll, my guy. But yeah, so that is something that I just feel like can come off as like a bit of an ick for me.
Do you think, okay, so did it make you less attracted to this guy? The fact that he was being a bit too sexual on the date?
It made me question his intentions. I don't know if that made me less attracted to him, but because I was still, you know, like I still had that mindset of who he is from when we spoke on the phone, his consistency. He had lots of great qualities within him. But when I say like the date was a little bit like a wild, it's like the wild side came out. So it was a little bit like, obviously first impressions do count. He still was a gentleman in it, and like he was very like kind-hearted. Those are the things and values that I liked and wanted to pursue and wanted to go on this date with, all those elements. But I felt like, so I wouldn't say it turned me off because I saw so much other things about him that I liked, but there was certain parts of me that just made me feel like, if this is your intention, then let me just bow out gracefully from now, basically.
So would you see him again? Have you been talking after the date?
We have.
And what, like daily?
I kind of had to say, yeah, like we've spoken a few times, and I had to say to him, like, bro, like, I think I've given him like a very stern, like, it's not always about that, and if you want it to be about that, then
count me out.
Basically,
I'm not involved. If you're about sex,
and he has shifted.
I'm gonna exit.
When I said that,
Left.
he was very like specific around, like he was very intentional around like changing his narrative and conversation, which I appreciated. But I did sense that feeling of like, you know, I'm still figuring it out, basically, if I'm gonna say.
So would you see him again, yes or no?
It depends on what our conversations are gonna be like.
Leading up to the date.
Yeah. You think I'm going to see...
She's going to see him again. I
don't know.
But
like,
then
guys,
there might be someone else that steals your attention, and then you're like, I prefer this conversation.
Who knows?
I mean, I think, dating is about so many things, but a conversation, like a good conversation, to be able to get along, have a sense of friendship. I know you talk about having a good friendship as a foundation of a relationship.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's a good idea to have that? If you can.
It's my favourite thing in dating. It's like, if I feel that we can be friends, then you probably won me over quite a lot. I get attached to people like that. Like, if I feel like there's something there and we're friends first. Because I feel like with a friend in a date, like, there's this element of, like, you know how people say friends are your chosen family? Because it's almost like you're choosing to be with that person, connect with that person. You find, like, love in that space and connection that feels so healing in that, because we're not supposed to be in this world, like, alone. And I don't mean that just with spouse, but like in friendship in general. Like, I feel like it is something where you are meant to be connected with your friends in ways that create a healing space and a healing to your soul. But also, I've said healing like 20 million times, but like also like a space of like love and connection,
a wholesome,
it's that connection to be like someone you can lean on almost, you know. So that's, if I can find that in my partner, then...
Do you feel like because you've had that experience, getting to know someone as a friend and being in a relationship with that person, that is something that you now go by a little bit more?
100%. Like with my ex, we were definitely friends first. And it's scary because, you know, when you go into a relationship with a friend, it could crush the friendship.
Yeah.
But it really did help support us because we generally enjoyed each other's company. Like, I could sit there and talk to this person like all day, every day, to be honest. And like, he's just got like a very good kind of outlook on life that made me attracted to him, but also made me appreciate him as a human being, away from the chemistry, away from like the
sex part,
not even just sex, but all the like fantasy stuff.
But then that's
of, like,
what I mean.
What
like,
relationship brings.
Yeah, you kind of like, when you're getting to know someone as a friend, you're not necessarily thinking about all of that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you still friends?
I wouldn't say so, sadly. But would I
want to still be friends though, anyways, or is it like
we had this conversation on live?
Yeah,
remember? And I was like, I would want to be friends with my ex, whatever. But like, I mean, I would not that I would want to be, but like, it wouldn't be an issue for me specifically. I know you're very much like no for that, but like, I felt like, you know, if as long as it's got boundaries in place, then it's fine. However, now I do see it in a different way. Like, if I'm in a relationship with someone new, then no. But if I'm like being solo dolo, whatever, being friends with my ex, I don't feel like that's an issue specifically.
Yeah, the reason why I think it is an issue though is because I feel like a part of you is always going to wonder what if, even if there's a boundary. Like, there is, because you've had that experience with that person. I almost feel like the past needs to remain in the past.
I hear that.
It's easier said than done, but like, I mean, do you think that, like, sometimes to move forward, you have to kind of leave that where it is and be very strict with yourself, because you could easily almost be waiting and not realise that you're waiting for that thing to like
reignite,
resurface.
I don't think I would want that. As a relationship. Like, as much as I respect him and like him as a person and all of that, but like, to have him back in my life in that context, there was so much that came with it that I the person who I am now and the person he is, probably it wouldn't make sense. And I don't see it making sense in the future, and I feel like that's where I felt a little bit reassured with the friendship, because I felt like we can go back to the friendship, because I actually generally don't see it happening in the future. Whereas if there was hope, then definitely no way. can't be friends in that way. If you're seeking for someone else, do you know what I mean? If you're doing your solo dolo thing, whatever, it's cool, do what you want to do. But if you're trying to like meet new people, all of that stuff, then no, you can't have that lingering in the background for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think with my friendships, because I've got like a mixed friendship group, but more female friends anyways, but it's like once they're in that friendship box, it's like there. you're not getting out of that box. It's like you're staying there. You're actually staying there, I'm afraid. I don't know what, but you're just staying there. And I think it's good because it helps me to like, it's just nice. It's nice for that boundary to be there and not to cross it. But then it depends how you meet someone. And I think that, I think I can see why a friendship having that foundation is important, because whether or not you meet through friendship, even if you meet, like what you said, you went on the first date and whatever, you would hope that you build a friendship with your romantic partner where you can laugh, you can spend all day together, you can enjoy each other, and you can actually hang out. And it doesn't have to be overly sexual. It doesn't have to be this or that. Like, you can literally hang out as friends. Yeah. So, I would want that as well. Yeah. So, like, that makes sense. Do you feel like your first experience with someone in a relationship shapes the rest of your experiences?
I feel like the first argument in a relationship would shape a lot of the relationship. To go further into that, like, I feel like what the core of that argument was, so like, for instance, if somebody is arguing over the dishes, you didn't wash the dishes, whatever, even if it's something so minor, like so small, I actually do believe that like there's something underlying in that argument that speaks to the core values of each individual, or speaks to like the wantingness or the expectation of each individual. And if you can't meet to a space where it's like you can't resolve this issue, then it's almost like you're going to continue having the same argument in different ways, in different formats. And if you're never able to kind of resolve that argument, that what the underlying argument is, then it can end up breaking up the relationship.
Wow. So something as small as the dishes.
Yeah.
Can but it's not the snowball, but it's not the dishes.
It's not the dishes. It's something that's like something that's quite minute, which causes things to be about like the value of like who you are, or
maybe you feel unappreciated.
Exactly.
Maybe you feel like you do more for that person than that they do for you.
Yeah, and that's deep rooted into like maybe feeling underappreciated through childhood or in friendships or other places. Yeah. And so because it's triggering something that's like a core wound, and the other person's not realizing that, and they're consistently like ignoring that wound, that ends up reoccurring in that situation to the point where the person feels like, I'm alone in this relationship, and they want to be out of it. Do you see what I mean?
I think, you know what, I read something about conflict and resolution, and I do think that's a big part of a relationship. Yeah. When you have a moment of conflict, how do you resolve it? Yeah. How do you patch that up? Because when I think about my long-term relationships, whether that's with family, friends, because friendships are a good testing ground.
True.
You know, like if someone can keep long-term friendships or relationships with family, like healthy dynamics with family, it is a good indicator that they can be someone that can keep a long-term romantic relationship, right? But I think the way you patch things up and the way that you resolve conflicts is important because it can help you move forward. There's always going to be an issue. No one is perfect. The grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where we water it. You know, true. I'm pretty sure people...
I ain't never heard that one before.
Oh, you haven't? Yeah, like the grass is green where you water it. So if you think you're going to find something better elsewhere, sometimes it's not even about elsewhere. It's about you and resolving what's going on in you. But yeah, I would say that working on resolving things is really important, and having your way of doing that, because no one is perfect. But when you can get over something with someone, it feels so good to say that I had an argument with this person and we've got over it, you know?
Yeah.
Have you like, you know, like speaking about friendships, because that's something that we wanted to like dive into a bit today as well. Have you had any arguments with a close friend or whatever, like whatever you want to speak about, that you managed to resolve, but like there was an issue behind it? Like how did you
resolve it, get over that?
Yeah, like have you, first question, like have you kind of had that?
Yeah, I think like in most, you know, friendships, it gets to a point where there will be something that's going to test you both and make you feel like, you know, what's going on in this friendship. You always have moments where you feel like, not always, but you will have a moment, I feel like at one point, that makes you think like, what is happening? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
maybe misunderstood or...
Yeah, like, and it could come from different spaces, different places, or, you know, like in the book, Fighting for Our Friendships, she talks about, you know, that conflict and resolution. And I think for me, to answer your question, I have had that. And the way in which, at first, to be fair, hands up, I was going to give up on the friendship, to be honest. Like, I really wasn't. It was really something that was, like, heartbreaking for me, because I think, like, a friendship breakup is probably one of the hardest breakups you can have. It can be really...
Why?
I think it's harder than a relationship.
I've heard this, but why?
Do you not think so?
But why do you think? Because
I think it's because you have so much expectation, or you build so much bondship with a friendship. I mean, it depends with different people and their relationships. But for me personally, like, my friends, that friendship was like a sisterhood. Do you know what I mean? And it was almost like, it felt like life without this person didn't make sense, you know? And I think in relationships, like, it's almost like if you think about siblings, like, you think, you know, you're with that sibling for so long, they see you through so much. And I think same with friendships, like, they see you through so much of your life.
Yeah. If it's a long-term friendship and you're close, they've seen you through every stage.
Every step. Yeah. And like, you've grown and you've laughed and you've kind of, you've had so many moments to lean on each other, to find each other, to kindle that spirit with each other, right? And when it's kind of separated, it almost feels like a divorce or a massive breakup, because it feels like this person has been there with me throughout for so long. And it can be difficult when you say to, even for myself as the person who was thinking, oh, I might give up on this friendship, it's difficult. Do you get what I mean? So like, you end up feeling like a part of you feels like, you start questioning your mind, like, can I do this? Is this the right thing to do? Is this not the right thing for me to do? And I think I got to a point where, like, the reason why I got to that point is because I felt so, like, just hurt and offended and all of those things. And I think I recently, and it's quite a recent thing, I'm so used to kind of like just blocking or like hiding away from a situation. So I never used to be like that, but it's something that I've developed over time. And I think we're in an era where we're like, that block culture or that throwaway culture has like really like seeped in a little bit.
You just like, like delete the number or block them, like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily out of mind.
Yeah, it's not. And it's also very difficult because it's like, you're actually it's almost like you're not valuing the person when you kind of like just disengage as much. Not that I wasn't valuing them, but it's just that like you're kind of taking that easy route out a little bit by blocking them, because you're not allowing yourself to kind of engage in the hurt of like.
But then do you feel like blocking that person was the only way that you could actually deal with the situation at hand?
In the time, I felt like it was what I wanted and needed to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, they're not blocked anymore or whatever. We resolved it. And the way we resolved it is like, I was really honest about where I felt hurt. And I think that's probably what the conversation should have been from the get-go anyway. But I honestly, I don't know if it was like, it's weird because in the book it talks about symmetry, and then also it talks about like
support and secrecy.
Yeah, and I think for me it was almost like the similarity, the symmetry, or the similar elements of us was kind of like distancing in what I felt was coming from her comments. And so like I felt like that's where the hurt was probably. It's almost like I was feeling like this distance between us in that moment. And I feel like like it was something where I just felt like I just wasn't being heard, or I wasn't being understood. And it's interesting because in the book it does talk a lot about like, you know, it's almost a little bit like expectation, and like having that expectation of your friend. Like there's a lot of friendships, and like I don't know how you feel about like friendships in that sense, and also like do you feel like you put an expectation on friendships, or you feel like your friends need to show up in a specific way for you?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I would say that I have high expectations of mostly everyone in my life.
Okay.
I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I know that I'm going to give 1,000%. So if I get anything less than 1,000%, I'm just dissatisfied or disappointed. Obviously there's grace. Obviously no one's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
But I'm quite protective over like the people I love, and yeah, like.
Where does that come from for you? Like,
I think growing up, obviously I have a big family, but also, you know, growing up, I think there were moments that I definitely felt let down.
okay.
You know, whether that was from like my relationship with my dad, you know, mostly. He was kind of around, but not really. You know, the fact that I'm saying kind of is a stretch, but like, I don't think it just stems from that, but there's a lot of things that I had to be strong. Like, I had to be strong in a lot of situations and responsible. And I feel like it does give you a thick skin, but then it also makes you quite sensitive as well. So I think it's important to just understand what you've experienced as a child, and how that affects the relationships that you have growing up, because then it can help you work on those things. Like I've obviously worked on certain things, whether that's through therapy, whether that's through, I don't know, running or whatever. Running where?
Yeah.
Why are you,
Right,
why are you running? But like,
are you running?
Yeah, like I think there's certain things that sometimes happen in anyone's life that are big events, and it shapes you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that it is important to show up for people in important things that matter to them, because they're always going to remember that. We're going to remember how people make us feel, you know, not necessarily what someone buys you. Like, that's not going to come with you to the grave, like, not to get too deep, but genuinely, you're going to remember if somebody
was there for you.
Yeah, remembered your, you know, let's say someone passed away that you love, remembered that anniversary of someone that's important to you that might have passed away, someone that gets you a card with a handwritten letter or whatever it is that actually makes you feel seen, heard, valued, listened to.
Yeah.
Those things I do not take lightly, you know. And there are moments where obviously I'm off in my own world, and I would say that I'm not the best friend, sister, partner, daughter, whatever it is, because I need to deal with my own stuff. But yeah, I think it's necessary to have those moments where we're off in our own world, re-energizing, and then we can be everything to everyone else. But we need to be everything to ourselves first.
True.
You know?
I think it's, you know, it's almost like that saying of like, you can't pour into like empty, if your cup is empty, you can't pour into others.
Yeah. And I love friendships. Like, I do love friendships. I think they are important, but I also feel like we change and we adapt. So sometimes when you're in a long-term relationship, whatever relationship that is, someone can assume that you're still the same. And it's like, listen, we're not in school anymore. I'm not the same person that you thought I was. So I think we have to relearn people.
Yeah.
Don't assume that you know everything about someone, because we're always changing.
Yeah. So in regards to that, like, do you feel like, have you had any friendship disconnects or arguments, and do you feel like, how was you able to like resolve that?
I think I've definitely had a few arguments here and there.
No, you're thinking about them. Yeah. I saw it in your eyes. You were like, I've had them. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to go into it.
Have you ever had like a shouting match though? Like a full on, like.
With a friend? Maybe when I was in school.
Like, have you ever reached that point? Have you ever reached that point of ugly? And when I say ugly, it's like you're not even trying to be all, what's that word?
Cutesy about it.
Not even, oh my gosh. What's that word? Is it not democratic, but like...
I get what you're saying, like diplomatic about the situation.
You're not trying to be like that. You're actually pissed off. And they're going to know. Not necessarily shouting, but what I'm saying is that you're literally... They're seeing
had moments of like, where I'm like, I'm laying down the law type of thing.
And you're not moving on it.
Yeah. But then I've also... I don't think I've been so far to the shouting.
Okay, but like they've seen you at your worst. That's what I'm trying to understand. Like, have they seen you at your worst where you're literally...
No. Maybe with family they've seen me at my worst. Like my cousin, I remember one time, I was so little.
Yeah.
I was so little. I think I must have been like in primary school.
Yeah.
And I just shouted, like, I can't even remember what I said. And I was shouting. And I remember like even just shocked with myself. And my sister was laughing. Because I think my sister was laughing out of like just pure confusion and like no one's really seen me like that. Shock, yeah. And I think like I've also had a shouting match maybe in primary school again, like actually in school with a friend back in the day.
But as a grown woman, no.
I don't think I have. And you know, it makes me scared sometimes because I feel like I don't think that would ever come out of me like that. I don't think it would, because even in relationships, I've never had like a shouting match. Yeah. So it's like, it's because things like that scare me, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, it scares me a lot when I see people shouting at each other. It scares me as well. So like, I feel like for me to be shouting at you, you've really got me. You got me to a point of probably no return. I think
I'm laughing because I cannot imagine being like shouting like, I can't. What are you doing?
I can't do it.
I could not imagine. Could you imagine me?
Yeah.
The fire inside.
I can. I think if you got like really upset, I can imagine you be like, fuck you kind of thing. Or not fuck you. No, I don't think you say that, but like
not holding back.
I think it'll be a defense rather than a on fence type of thing.
Oh, like,
I think if you're defending yourself, I could imagine you coming with the fire. But I don't think you could. I can't imagine you like starting with like coming with smoke.
Yeah, I'm not gonna come with smoke. If I'm met with smoke, then I will match it. But I'm not gonna come with smoke. I think as well, like, yeah, I think that fire also comes from my family dynamic as well, because when you have loads of siblings, it's like you have to fight your corner, else you'll just get trampled on, like genuinely. Yeah. Like when you've got older siblings especially. So I think it comes from that as well. It's like, yeah, like you gotta fight your corner or else. But no, like I think when you reach a certain age, obviously you want to be mature about things, and I'm not even like bringing that energy is not necessarily that's not me, but like I think that why I'm bringing that up is I do think that sometimes you need to stand firm and you need to not prove to yourself, but just know that I just think that sometimes being the nice person all the time, or the people pleaser, or the one that's accommodating everyone, or not trying to rock the boat or whatever, if something is not serving you and you're not in that moment not happy, you need to express like how you feel, because what I've realized is that if I don't say what I'm feeling, I actually feel like I'm swallowing it, and I think it's eating away at me slowly. And that's when you can get situations that build and build and build.
And then you erupt.
And then you have one argument and it's the end of a 10-year friendship.
Yeah.
And it's like, bruh.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes if you just have those little arguments along the way or hash it out along the way, it can actually help, because at least you're kind of resolving it as you go along. Whereas if you're harboring all those feelings, can you imagine that one argument? Like, that's
I
it.
don't know. For me, one, there's two things there. Like, I don't know if I'm one of those people who resolve things independently. So like I learned that I found that I did this in my previous relationship, where I would almost argue for the person in the situation.
Oh.
So if I felt like, okay, this person, I'm upset with this person for doing this, I'll give it a day, or a week. It used to be a week, but then I said a day because he would feel like, why am I bringing up old news? But I'll give it a day, right? And I'd say to myself, okay, why is it that they felt this way? So I'd almost resolve it in my mind.
Oh, for both of you?
For both of us.
Hey. Hey. Okay.
I'll resolve it in my mind for both of us. And if I felt like I've come to the conclusion in my mind for both of us, then I'm like, I'm cool. I'm not going to bring it up. Yeah. That's how I would resolve. That's how much I would avoid arguments.
What?
Yeah.
So let's say you did something that pissed you off, like...
And I do that in friendships as well.
Oh, you did that with me? Bruh. You're like, this is what Malunga actually meant.
This is
so
what she
we're
loves
cool.
me, really.
I'm the best. Oh, so...
I actually do. And I realised that I did that more in that relationship because we had lots of, like, moments like that, where I think that's why it's so easy for me to kind of, like, resolve things quite quickly. But the reason why I did that, and I come to learn in my older years, is I actually don't know how to argue at all. I don't know. I don't think I grew up in a household where people argued much like that. And if there was an argument, it was a big blowout, right?
Oh, so it bubbled up and then there was a massive blowout.
I don't know if it bubbled up, but it would just be a bit, not explosive, but like it was just like a big
like it was like, so would you say that if there were issues or problems, it was more under the rug rather than like...
For me, yeah.
Okay.
But for others, maybe not as much.
Okay.
But for me, like my sister, I don't think she kept things under the rug as much. She would definitely let you know she's pissed about something.
She's similar to me, yeah.
But like for me, I definitely would sweep things under the rug a lot of the time. And I think I just felt like if I'm arguing with somebody, then I felt scared that there was no return from the argument,
that it was going to be the end of the relationship.
I think that's what.
Oh, so you
and
didn't...
I think still as an adult, I have that feeling of like fear of, if I have an argument with this person, I'm risking the relationship with this person.
I guess in some ways you are.
It's true. So that's why I find step into an argument so difficult, because it's like a gamble every single time.
Oh, and you'd rather just avoid it then?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that kind of works for you? Or?
Not really. You have to learn.
Because sometimes I feel like even if you avoid it, like we were talking about this, it comes to you anyways.
True.
Like you've had situations where obviously you've tried your best to avoid it, but it's like you're presented with something that you actually have to face.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
in a situation like that, what do you do?
I'm really good at like acting like nothing's happened. I am good at that.
I'm so shocked. It's like, I don't know you at all. See, we're always changing, guys.
I'm good at acting like nothing's happened. I'm good at hiding things away. I'm good at like, but I would address it. Maybe I would address it, but in a way that's like a sandwich. So I would do the nice, the feeling, then the nice.
Oh, kiss, slap, kiss.
Yes, I'll definitely do that.
Slap, kiss.
And then sometimes people don't realize the slap.
Oh, because the kiss is coming.
So
is the other bit of bread. So they don't realize they're getting slapped in the face. This is passive
aggressive.
Yeah, this is what it means to be passive. You see what I mean?
It's
an
avoidant
art
as well. It's an avoidant thing as well. So like, I'm not saying that I'm trying for them not to realize it, but it's almost like I want people to realize the issue,
but you don't want to offend them as well
at the same time, because I don't want to risk the relationship being lost. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I actually don't know how to fight with or come to conflict without it being risking that it's the end.
But then in that moment that you talked about with that big conflict with that friend,
I then shut down as the end to avoid the end.
Oh, so you took that more extreme route of like, not extreme, but you basically made the decision that it's going to be the end for you anyways.
Yeah, because I knew that it could be.
Oh, so you kind of beat them to it?
A little bit. And I think I did that in relationships as well. So like with my ex, I would definitely, like, especially the first time round, I would definitely break up before
they break up with you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you want to beat them to it so that you don't have to face them being the one that makes that decision.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that also like a power dynamic thing?
Maybe. I don't think it's power, but I think for me it's more like fear.
You don't want to be rejected.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. And I think that's why I find conflict so difficult to navigate, whereas there actually is a lot of people who are able to have conflict on conflict on conflict and still, like, there's a lot of siblings that do that but then still be fine.
And I think that's why
you're good with conflicts.
Yeah, I'm not too scared of conflict because to me there's so much that's happened, especially like when I think about my siblings and just like life that I've gotten through, and I'm surprised that I've managed to still keep that relationship. And to be honest, not even my siblings. I would say there's 2 of my friends that actually helped me to do this, maybe even 3. But like growing up, I'm going to shout them out actually.
Oh.
Jordan and Jamal. Hi. Oh, Mila is what Mila's like, oh damn, the shade.
No, not Mila.
But I mean like.
I thought you were going to say something else completely different. Okay, go on.
Yeah, I think Jordan, Jamal, and maybe even Naomi as well actually.
Yeah.
But like either way, some of my friendships, especially growing up when I was younger, one thing I can say is that like, I was going through a particular situation and these 2, like my 2 guy friends in particular, like I knew them from church and everything. I did hide away and I was actually going through a lot emotionally.
Yeah.
I was living on my own as well from when I was 18, I've been living on my own. And they were just so patient and really kind. And I remember having like 2 other friends at the time and they judged my situation and kind of, I felt a little bit bullied a bit or just a bit like...
Not seen?
Yeah,
or
like...
understood?
I isolated myself just to protect myself. Yeah. And it's only because I was going through what I was going through, so I didn't know how to manage it.
Yeah.
But what I appreciated about my 2 friends at that time is they were patient. And although they knew there was something going on, I didn't feel judged.
Yeah.
They gave me time and we're still friends now.
Yeah.
And it's been like over 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And that taught me a lot because I was so good at being like, I don't need anyone. I'm cutting you off. They even
so
joke.
You're like the opposite of me.
Yeah, they joke about it with me, like even till this day. Yeah. Like you were always talking about cutting people off or whatever. Like you're done with something. Like it was definitive. Like it's done. It's over. Whatever. This is done.
Wow.
But they honestly laughed at me because it was never done. Like to them, they're like, listen, we're your friends and doesn't matter what you're going through. We'll give you time if it's a month or 2 or whatever, but we're actually still your friends. And I liked that there wasn't a pressure as well. It was kind of like a low maintenance friendship, which I also love sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? When you get older, sometimes it's like you don't have to always dress up. You don't have to go out. You don't have to go to brunch all the time. You don't have to spend all this money. If you got £5 or if you want to do something for free, you can still hang out and have a good time. But anyways, they were patient. And I think that just taught me a lot about hanging in there and evolving, giving people space and time. Yeah. And still meeting them on the other side and still being friends. And that was like, I think I did learn that from the way that they were. Yeah. From the way they were and the way our friendship slowly built. Yeah. So yeah, there's lessons in friendships as well that you can take into any relationship.
I feel like, so now do you feel like you're able to kind of see that in other ways, like with not just them, but like in other new friendships, for instance.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's like things can happen, but it doesn't have to be a big deal.
It doesn't have to be the end.
It doesn't have to be the end.
Why did you make it the end so much?
I think a part of me is like, you know, if you just say to someone, oh, it's done, or I'm cutting you off, or it's over, then it makes you feel like you can move on quicker and you don't have to face it anymore. You don't have to feel hurt anymore. You don't have to work through the challenge of the relationship. Because to work through something and grow through it is actually harder. I think it's easier to actually be just like, oh, I'm done. You're blocked. Numbers deleted. I'm moving on.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes it's easy to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's necessary, but it depends what it is.
Yeah.
It's not always that black and white.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's certain relationships that you've managed to let go of because you really needed to? Or do you feel like you just don't let go of relationships?
I've definitely let go. There was one person I could think of in particular, you know, and I feel like...
I know.
I feel like no shade to them at all.
Throw that tree of shade.
It's no shade. It's actually no shade.
Okay.
But like, because there was a friendship there. Like initially, there was a strong friendship there, and I think like, you know, it was difficult at the time, but I think a part of me almost felt the separation in the friendship as it was happening. And when we did kind of distance and things, I kind of had to be the one that initiated that distance, which was difficult for me usually. But like, I think it got to a point where I just felt like I can't with this individual anymore because
it's hurting you. It was
affecting me a little bit, and it was a bit too much of like, I think I tried to come to the person and tell them what the issue was, and it wasn't no change. It was almost like a little bit of like, let me just do what I want to do. And sadly, I don't think they realized that decision to be in that way or not kind of come to like compromise or just kind of like come to see what I'm saying in that way kind of did end up like pushing us further and further apart. And if it wasn't for that, I think I would have still tried more. But, you know, like it was difficult because obviously, like, you know, I'm somebody who doesn't like pushing people away. I don't like the whole final, like, it's done type of thing. So, yeah, that is something that I've had to kind of navigate. What about?
Yeah, I know that it takes a lot for you to actually say goodbye to things and to let go of things. And I think I'm similar. Like, now, I would say that, like, I do find it hard to let go of things. I think especially if someone's been in my life for a long time.
Yeah.
I find it hard to let go as well.
Do you feel like you're able to ask friends for help when you need it?
I find it hard to ask for help. Yeah. I mean, I know that people can't read minds, so sometimes you do have to spell it out and be explicit, like, I need you to help me to do this.
Yeah.
But I think that even with friendships, I have been let down sometimes when I've asked for help.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's been a little bit of judgment there, or like, you know, I've been tempted to cut one or two friends off, you know, this year or whatever, like, you know, low key in my mind. But obviously I let go of it because I think with friendships, you might have more than one friendship. So in a way, if that one is not serving you, then you have another friend to kind of like
serve in that way.
Yeah, bounce off of. I mean, I feel like with friendships, it's easy for it to be a little bit more light. You know what I mean? Like for there to be less expectation.
Than in relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I like about.
Yes. Yes and no. I think sometimes it's weird because like even in the book, she spoke about like women in particular having, and she spoke about like being a headmistress So the person who wrote it, she's a headmistress, and she spoke about like the girls kind of having to navigate friendships, and sometimes it was almost like going for a landmine where you don't really know if it's like this undertone of like, or underlying of expectations that you don't really know that are there sometimes. And I think like that can be difficult, because I think in a relationship you're more or less likely to tell that person that this is what you expect of them. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas with a friendship, if somebody disappointed you as a friend, it's less likely that you would, because it's almost like you feel like, well, they're my friend, but they're not, you don't expect that from them specifically. But from a relationship, you expect specific
But from a
things.
friendship, you do expect that, but you might not say it.
But with a relationship, you would say like, I expect this. Like, what's going on? Like, how come you haven't done this? Or what's happening with this? Do you know what I mean? Whereas with a friendship, you might just let it slide a little bit, but you're still hurt and you still have that expectation, and they might continue doing it, but there's no communicate. It's like that mind reading thing. I think I do that a lot.
I do that in friendships, actually. I'm clocking it because, and I don't think I always say.
Yeah, me neither.
I think, to be honest, I don't really say with friendships. I kind of let it slide most of the time, unless something is like really upsetting.
Yeah.
And I think I let it slide just because with friendships, I know that.
Why do you do that though?
What?
Why do you do that? Why do you let it slide?
I let it slide because I know I've got other relationships in my life, and I wouldn't say that my friendships are the only. Sorry. I know that I've got other relationships in my life, and I know that my friendships aren't just the main thing. Yeah, it's my chosen family, but I just know that, again, with friendships, you can have more, you can't necessarily have more than one romantic partner.
True.
Unless you want to swing that way, which is fine. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying in that sense of like, but then it's almost like, but I think with friendships, I disagree in that sense, because I feel like each friend is different.
Yeah, but then that's what's nice. With friendships, like in a roundabout way, you can low-key cheat, because if I'm saying it, if I'm just trying to put it in, if I'm trying to say it in a simple way, you can, because you can have more than one friendship, and then you can have that
and the other person for different things.
Yeah, you can have that for different things.
Okay.
And the relationship is light. Some are heavy. Some friendships I can go for, like me and you, we have a deeper relationship. We have a sisterhood. But I have some friends where literally I could speak to them once in the year, and that's okay. You can't do that in a romantic relationship, because what relationship is that?
You would expect that of me either.
What?
Once in a year.
No, but then that's what I'm saying. I'm Wheeler, speaking to her once in the year. You crazy?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that of you either. Do you know what I mean?
We were even saying the other day, like when we don't talk and it's only been like, let's say 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, it feels like we haven't spoken in a long time. It's true.
It feels weird to me. I actually feel like you're missing.
Yeah.
Where with some friendships,
if
we don't speak in 2 or 3 days in the week, or even in a month,
true,
I'm not like
thinking that
I'm not feeling the same way. So I just feel like it depends on the friendship. But like,
so how do you maintain friendships that are not consistent?
How I maintain friendships that are not consistent is we have an understanding. So we're both inconsistent, but we get it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think about it. Like, I have friends where it's like literally they might disappear for a few months. Maybe they've gone traveling, whatever they're doing. Sometimes they're in like, there's a lot going on emotionally. I might try and be there. I will try and be there for them. But if they want that space, then I understand, they've been off re-energizing, trying to sort their life out. They're going to come back to me. I've been off doing the same thing. I'm going to come back to them, because to me, that friendship's always going to be there. Yeah. Unless they're like, I'm done with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have an understanding. That's how I sort it out. What about you? Do you have any friends where it's like...
Yeah, I do.
Like that kind of relationship?
I have one where it's kind of a bit more distant, I would say.
Oh, you upset about it?
No.
Yeah.
But like, we used to be really close, which is so interesting, because we were like, I mean, it was a long time ago, but we were like school times, but we were really, 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 really close. But now, obviously, I would still consider that person as like a really close friend of mine, but we just don't talk. You're trying to figure out who it is. We don't just, I'll tell you after, but we don't just talk as often as we do. It's still like somebody who I would like value highly as a friendship, but like, we just don't actually get a chance to talk as often as we once used to. And like, I guess that's kind of like somebody, but I would still say that's a close friend of mine. Do you get what I mean?
And that's what I mean. Yeah. It's like, there's some people that we've met most of each other's friends anyways, haven't we?
I think so, yeah.
I think I've met some of yours and you've met some of mine.
Yeah.
But there are one or two that might pop up and you're like, oh, I didn't realise. Yeah, it's a bit like, who's this?
Yeah.
You know? But
true.
yeah, I think you just need a handful of really good people in your corner and you're good with life, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, some people's lives centre more around friendships, some more around family, some more around work. Like, it really depends on what you truly value.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about friendships. But I think that what I like about friendships is you can be open to new ones as well.
True.
And new energy. Yeah. And you can meet in
different places in the
wherever
world.
You're at in your life.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think you should close your mind to friendships because it's like, oh, well, I have these 5 friends that I met and we met in school when we were young and that's it. Like, why not make a new friend if you want to?
Yeah. Like, I think there's always space for an openness to kind of evolve in friendship.
Yeah.
As you grow, and also like meeting new people who become those people for you. And
but I love like I actually love, like, I can't wait to see
how we evolve
as friends. And I think that's what I do love about my long-term relationships and friendships. It's like, I can't wait to see you get all the things that you truly desire, all the things that you dream of and want, and to continue to see that growth in you. Yeah. And to be like, oh my God, we were once there and now we're here, and you were talking about this and now you've got this. Yeah. So like, I'm excited. Like, I'm excited for us and our friendship.
Yeah.
Because
me too.
Yeah, we get together, we talk on the pod.
I know.
To our everyday people, like, comment, share, and subscribe.
I would just say, like, to wrap up on the friendships is like also finding that space of like, what does conflicts mean to you, and like, how do you find space to go through conflict with your friendships is really important.
Yeah, how do you resolve it? How do you resolve it?
Yeah, and it's also good to kind of speak on certain things and not hiding away, especially when you feel like you need your friends. Like, always let them know, like, you need them same way as if they need you. Like, just letting them know, even if it's like, and just being open to the answer as well. Like, if a friend says, you know, like, I haven't got the capacity in me to kind of give you what you need at this moment, also being kind of like able to find that grace with your friends as well.
Yeah. And I do think some people say that they don't really have friends as well. Some people will say they might have one or they don't have many.
Yeah.
And
I don't really have many friends, I don't think.
Yeah. That's a lie.
I don't have many friends.
You have friends. I know people that don't. You have friends, girl. Girl, you have friends.
Where are these friends? Comment below. Friends. All my friends, comment below.
Comment below. Like, share, and subscribe. But, like, some people
yeah, it's true.
It's not that important to them, but it's also okay. Yeah. And I think what would be really nice to explore next time as well is a male perspective on friendships too. True. Because what I've realised, like, talking to my brother, talking to, you know, like,
they're quite
talking men, I think it depends.
Friendships differently.
They do. So it'd be
nice. They don't have as much of an expectation, I don't think.
Maybe.
For their friends.
Yeah. And I think with women specifically, that's why the book Fighting for Our Friendships, like, it does explore. Who's it by? Who's the author?
It's Danielle Byward Jackson, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, Danielle Byward Jackson.
Yeah, we're going through that book, Fighting for Our Friendships, and that's what we were referencing. So definitely check that out. But yeah,
we've got it. I'll show it to you guys.
Like, hold it up. That's it there. But it's actually like, I think exploring female friendships in particular is quite an important, interesting thing, because women the communities that we build, we are quite communal in a lot of ways, I would say.
Yeah.
That is different to how men might operate.
They are also communal.
Men are,
I think it's around a specific action. Or kind of like it feels like it's around something like active, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like it's just a different, I would say with men, there's a little bit of a different expectation, especially when I've talked to some of like
male friends,
the men in my life. It's very different to what we might express.
Yeah. I feel like they feel like we put a lot on our friends.
That is it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, let's be honest, Let's touch on one more thing.
Okay.
Birthdays.
Okay.
When it comes to friendships, like with birthdays, stuff like that.
We do expect our friends to show up.
With birthdays, especially for us girls.
Yeah.
A lot happens around birthday. That's another topic in itself.
True.
But we need to talk about what is, you know, what flies, what doesn't fly when it comes to that. Because a lot comes up around birthdays as well.
That's true.
With friendships.
Yeah.
And sometimes they make or break friendships.
True. This is true.
Let's be honest. If you have an expectation for your birthday or your friend does and you don't fulfill that, we do know.
Yeah, it can ruin, but it depends. I would say it wouldn't ruin a solid
But in your
friendship,
experience,
but yeah, it can.
It's created a conflict.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and same. Like even for me, like when I feel like someone hasn't really showed up for me around my birthday, I have felt a bit like,
what's going on?
But then over time, I've put less pressure and expectation on my birthday. So that's what's helped me.
Birthdays are weird. Maybe it's a thing to talk about next time, but birthdays are a weird one because part of me feels like I might just spend my birthdays on my own.
And that's what,
moving forward.
That's what some of my friends be doing now.
Yeah. Just doing like a solo trip somewhere is actually really nice.
I think like you have to get to a place as well where you're comfortable with your own company too.
True.
Because I've noticed that there is something in me that sometimes seeks a lot of that validation.
Yeah.
And I do admire people that can literally have that like that solitary, like have that experience by themselves.
Yeah.
And be strong in being by themselves and in who they are.
Yeah.
Regardless of what friends might say, family might say, work. Like I respect that as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can be around so many people and it can cloud who we think we are.
True.
So everything in balance, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time.
We have been MNM TALKS.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Please like, comment, share and subscribe.
We have been MNM TALKS.